What's up, everyone? It is the Oracle of Elohim. I hope everyone is enjoying this June 23rd, 2025, Monday. Well, y'all, when you have time on your hands and you I just want to know what is going on with this foolishness that has crept up in my life. And I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I know that I just feel like there's some affiliation. Okay. So let's see. Let me change up. Let's see. I'm gonna change up the position of the phone. Okay. So I believe there is some affiliation with certain people. And that is why my situation that I find myself in. Let me put this here. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to stay cool. I was, in the library. And I guess someone's going to get mad after I say what I have to say. But it is my mouth, my amendment rights to say what I have to say, right? Anyway, it almost breaks my heart that so much hate can be in certain people. Okay. I'm gaining my composure back. Because I don't want to act no. Anyway. This situation, if I am correct, no wonder it's taking so long to get a resolve. Mr. Patrick Jackson and Kataji Brown Jackson of the Supreme Court Justice. Do you know me, Your Honor, Kataji Brown Jackson? Because as I was looking up another individual, a whole bunch of names started flooding in and it started resonating. Like Annie Thomas, she is probably in her 80s, I guess, now. My grandparents that I knew as grandparents on my paternal side, I believe also raised William Woods, who had a child from Annie Thompson, right? Sharon Thompson was Mark Anthony Woods' sister. I think you might have some affiliation with Commissioners in Brevard. And then we have Tina. Tina, I remember Tina. Yeah, you're younger than myself, I guess, or we may be around the same age. I don't know. But what I do know is, while dating John Williams, the one who has the HIV, I asked him. I say, "Who are your people?" And I know he said, and I know Thomas, just like Williams, is a very common name. But because this situation is so close knit with incest and I don't know what pansexual, but it just makes me want to say pansexualisms with everybody intertwining with everybody. But anyway, now when my son went missing, there were some children or children associated with some Thomas people, right? Because there's a lot of Thomas in Brevard, but now that I'm having to sit and put things together again, Your Honor, I hope, Kataji, Brown, Jackson, I just hope you're not the influence or the affluence that knows something about me, and maybe even Clarence, Your Honor, Thomas. See, because I'm trying to figure out how John Williams can run rampant around here spreading a deadly disease, and why it is taking me so long to get justice. So if it's individuals like you that is potentially my op, that would explain a whole lot of things. So, let me continue. Then we have my supervisor, right? Jocelyn Scott. You have a daughter. Her last name is Thomas. Her father, I believe, has gotten in trouble or something or another with the law before. So all these Thomases, Annie Thomas, Demetrius Thomas, who also got in trouble with the law, or is that Kamisha's father, Jocelyn Scott? Jocelyn Scott is the supervisor who thought she was my handler. The Demetrius Thomas that went to court about cocaine, that one we talking about. Now, there was a Thomas lady, and I'm trying to remember her name, that was a part of the youngsters when my son went missing, who called herself trying to bring charges against me for harassing her, for looking for my son, who was quote unquote possibly shot, removed from the scene where I never seen him again. Mind you, this is still Thomas. Your Honor, Clarence Thomas, is Demetrius A. Thomas related to you? Or are these Thomases from Cocoa, Florida, that could be from Georgia, because you got affiliations in Georgia, right, sir? And also you, Katanji Brown Jackson, you have affiliations in Georgia and Miami. And I believe Sandra and them do too, something about Avon Park and all that, Key West, Florida and all that. Yeah. So is that how Sandra is not prosecuted, and then her husband Walter Brown You know, I know Brown is a common name as well. But are y'all somehow related? And that's why these people have been able to use you all as clout. And I mind you, you all are of the law. And I'm looking for justice. I'm looking for help from the law. But then I have a family who is psychopath that may potentially know you or related to you. And then I see some Andersons in the midst of this, since Sandra diabolically was trying to map out my life, my lovers, because my last son, his father last name is Anderson, right? And he's from, or at least I was told he was from South Carolina. My ex-husband from South Carolina. Do you understand where I'm going with this? So all of y'all sat down, made contracts for my life to be disturbed and to go in a disarray because of what? And then we have Mayweather in there in your history, Kataji, Brown, Jackson, with your family dynamic. Because, you know, you're married to a Caucasian. Nothing wrong with that for you. It's just not for me. But let me continue. I hope you are not my adversary, because you do have money, because, you know, I don't know who made that rule where you Supreme Courts must stay on board for life. President Biden, sir, do you know anything about this? What your potential person that you voted to be Supreme Court Justice, so that this Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, RICO crimes can continue? Because if you put people in the highest court in the United States of America who ain't gonna do ish about people breaking laws, but sit up there and cover it up, then that will make it difficult for me to get justice, right? That would explain some birds that I see, and not literally birds. When I go to certain areas, there will be a helicopter or a plane. I don't know. Is that you? Because you would have the resources to be able to do that. And then Clarence Thomas, are you related to John? Is Kataji related somehow to Walter Brown that Sandra married to? You know, so all of y'all are related, possibly criminally insane, and you're upholding criminal activities, but you are a Supreme Court justice who is under that absolute immunity and absolute whole life job forever. Oh my God, do we need to abolish that? Because again, I say, if you have anything to do with this, you are a paid murderer, a paid saboteur. You can get away with whatever the F you wanted to get away with. Pretty much, right? Because can't nobody can question you except me on the 23rd of June, 2025. Do you know me? Do you have anything to do with this case? Do you know Sandra? Do you know John Williams? Do you know Tara Melbourne? What was her last name? Tara Melbourne. Okay. The one that passed away. Are you related to the Thomases here in Cocoa, Florida? And what happened to Mark Anthony Woods? I just refuse to believe, because I was told a missile fell on him. Yes, freak accidents happen, but was it really a freak accident? Because I do know that someone is after me because of some life insurance fraud that certain people put in my name to receive at the hands of my demise. So when that young man, a handsome young man, went to the military, was his murder planned? Was it a freak accident or was it not? Was his father murdered by his young wife? I'm trying to think of her name, because she was very adamant about me not seeing him, Sandra, because it's still not established quite yet. Is Big Daddy Willie the father, or were you somehow messing with William Woods? And that's why when the illegitimate father that I know as father didn't really act in any way different when William's wife was like, oh, he's not feeling good today, so y'all come back, when she knew we traveled to Tampa to see him. Was he going to tell me something on his bed of affliction? That's why all you gatekeeping, busted hoes, because all you know how to do is lie, cheat, steal, and kill. And roll in the hay with one another as if your sexual activity is putting a root on somebody else. I'm so glad that the Most High is not. I'm so glad that the Most High is not allowing y'all stupidity of magic to work on me, so you're going to other means now. I thank God that this too is going to pass and this is going to be over. But I just had some questions for you, people in the Supreme Court. Justice. That's what your employer name is, right? An employer that hired you for life. But are you trying to take people's lives? Anyway, I digress. But what I do know is that person that came to me with HIV, I believe he knows these Thomases in Cocoa, Florida. And if he is the adoptive child that my known Big Mama was raising, then all you people in Cocoa surely knew me. Cocoa Church of God, Sharps Church of God folk, y'all are sick. Just sick. And then Jocelyn Scott. Just because you have a daughter by one of these people, perhaps, and then you sin or you're a part of, because when his big head butt will come into the office, he did that maybe once or twice, buying a bus pass for Archie Sr. And I was at my desk, but when I look up at the camera, you and John making smiley faces, or laughing like, we got her, we're getting them, because I'm like, how in the world does he know you to be making smiley faces at? But I know that there is some type of connection to all of you all, whether it's blood kindred or it's just a part of your little silly coven to keep someone oppressed, to commit Ponzi schemes. Well, people, I'm just saying, there's a lot to examine when we have to examine our government. Period. Anyway, I'm going to go. And maybe perhaps the Holy Spirit will wrap this all up and tell me what I need to know, because I have been asking Attorney General Pam Bondi, Department of Justice, to bring me my information. I'm not a toy. You watch my videos. Hell, you have people traveling in cars everywhere I go, or possibly in a plane, helicopter, whatever. So it's not like you don't know where I am. I guess you're just trying to see how you can complete the task of trying to murder me. Anyway, get your mind together. Because if you have anything to do with this, what a waste. You land that beautiful position, one that you cannot get fired from yet. That law needs to change. You don't need to be on the Supreme Court for a lifetime as you get old and senile. And you're in love with one law or one perception, and then nobody else can get true justice because you're stuck in your senility. Who in the world said keep these people on for life and they have absolute immunity? Who but an evil person who know mankind is fallible? Anyway, I'm gonna go. I said enough for you to ponder on, because whatever you're trying to keep a secret, it looks like the Holy Spirit is unraveling something.